Father, may Allah continue to uplift every one of us, guide us, protect us, and count us among sincere Muslims, those who will be admitted into Jannat al-Firdaus. Uh, inshallah, today we'll continue with the nikah, marriage-related topic. Today we want to talk about something that a little bit relatively strange to us, because you in this part of the world you hardly hear something of such. That if you hear this, it's as if someone has committed a big error. But it's allowed in Islam. What is it? It is for the spouse and maybe the groom or the bride, for them to give themselves condition contracts. What I mean by contract is not time contract, that is we're going to marry so time, after that we divorce. That's the one is muta. Abi? We are not talking about that one. We are talking about at the time of marriage, for each party or one of the party to state some of the conditions in that marriage. That in this marriage, oh, so this is it. This is how it will be. Is it allowed in Islam? Like for example, if you know you want to marry me, oh, it's Maitama, I want to leave. For example, it's Maitama, I want to leave. So if you want to marry me, it is 3 bedroom that you what you will give me. If you want to marry me, now maybe the only one you will marry, you will not marry second wife, and so on and so forth. Or in another way around, if a a man also want to marry, and then you can give the woman some conditions that after this our marriage, you will not go out to anywhere without me going out with you. I mean, you will not travel to any place except we travel together. There are a lot of conditions that husband or wife they can put in their marriage, and then they will write down those conditions. Okay, they will write down those conditions, then they will put it into the law. That that condition will be the basis for their what, for their marriage. That if anyone violates those conditions, it can be it can lead to some penalty. One of the key penalties is that dissolution of such marriage. Such marriage can be dissolved. So, or maybe let's put some other examples of these conditions. That so you as husband, now only once in a month that we'll be seeing ourselves as husband, for example. So we look at all these conditions. We will look at then which one is allowed in Islam, which one is not what is not allowed. First, the hadith that we're going to read is hadith uh, 312. Hadith is reported by Uqbah bin Amir. He said, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن أحق إن أحق الشروط أن توفوا به ما استحللتم به الفروج. إن أحق الشروط أن توفوا به ما استحللتم به الفروج. Rasulullah says that the best condition that is so binding on you to fulfill it, it is those conditions that you use to make yourselves halal for one another, to make yourself legitimate to one another, and to have access to yourselves. It means, yeah, for the nikah, the act, the shurut, the conditions that you what is it called? The conditions that you put in place because you want to become husband and wife. And there is another hadith of Rasulullah sallam says that al-Muslimuna ala shurutihim. Al-Muslimuna ala shurutihim. That is, Muslims, they are being binded by the conditions that they put among themselves. There are some things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them compulsory for us. There are some that they are not compulsory. But if those things they are halal, the moment me and you we come together, we put pen into paper. We say, this is it, this is how it will be done. It has become binding upon every one of us. Let's say, for example, you get a job. You get a job, and then in your job, they say that you should be coming to work by 9 a.m., for instance. By 9 a.m., that's the contract that you sign. So you now come one day, maybe 9:10, 9:05, 9:05. You now said, I'm late today. You are late. So you are to receive the punishment, for instance. You now say, this thing, is it Allah that put this thing compulsory for us to be at the work by 9 o'clock or something? It's not like that. It is the shurut, the condition of service that you wrote, that you sign. It has made it binding on you to abide by those conditions. That's why Rasulullah say, Al-Muslimuna ala shurutihim. Muslims, they are obliged to fulfill the conditions they put in place. Now, let's go back to our discussion. First, Rasulullah sallam says in this hadith that one of those things that is so necessary, so important for someone to fulfill, one of those promises, conditions that's so binding, so strong for someone to fulfill, it is binding, it is conditions between, or the promises between the what? Between husband and wife, especially at the point of marriage. At the point of marriage, it's so necessary for us to fulfill those promises. But those promises, they are of two types. There are some of them, they are regarded as batil. Batil, it means non and void. It's irrelevant. Is what? Is irrelevant. It cannot be looked into. Even if someone is putting it right from the point of what? Of marriage. There are some other ones that they are sahih. Yani shurutu sahiha. They very valid and right conditions. Let's look at it. What will make condition right? What will make it wrong? Any condition that we have something to do with the basic essence of marriage. Any conditions that will remove the essence of marriage, that kind of condition is null and what? And void. Let's say, for example, if at the point of marriage, they said we are going to marry, but we are not going to have children for ourselves, so there will be no child. You know, it happens these days. That kind of, they will even write it down, especially in the West, in the Western world. They write it down that we will marry, and then we'll commit to ourselves, but no children among ourselves. That kind of condition, according to Islam, is non and void. Because that kind of condition, يخالف مقتضى العقد. يخالف مقتضى العقد. Yani, it violates, it really vitiates the essence of marriage. That's one of the essence of what? Of marriage. First one. Now, second condition, A second example, that someone said that we marry to ourselves. As we marry, you are my husband, I am your wife. Yeah, for some other benefits, we will not have access to ourselves. We will not have intimacy with ourselves. Or condition intimacy, our own, once in a blue moon. That's when we have intimacy with ourselves. That kind of condition, it is dead on what? On arrival. It is none and void. Because it also what? It's at it is against the essence of marriage. The essence of marriage. But now let me put another example. At the point of marriage, if the wife said that you will marry me, but me, I know sabi cook, I no go cook for you. I no go cook for you. Is that kind of condition, is it valid or invalid? Let's hear from our men. Is it valid or invalid? Yeah? Someone say valid. Man of question? Valid? Invalid? Invalid? Uh, invalid? Okay. Someone say valid is invalid. Alhamdulillah. We've had a different opinion. The answer to it is that that kind of condition is valid. You know why it's valid? It is not. It cooking. It is not one of the essence of marriage. Even though it's a shared responsibility. It is a responsibility that is very good. With it hold the family together. But do you know one funniest thing about cooking of a stuff? We know naturally it is women that cook. There is no doubt about that. Abi? Is it because they are the one that sabi cook most? No. If you look at the biggest chef in the whole world now, you can never see them to be women. The biggest chef. In fact, one woman said, he said, it is we that we cook for the families. But when cooking is to bring money, now men still rule that what? Still rule that area. If cooking is to bring money, now men still rule that area. But why? What made cooking so necessary for women? Because if the children are hungry, not be their father they will go to in the first instance, except if the mother is not responsible. It's the mother that they will go, Mommy, I'm hungry. Mommy, I'm what? I'm hungry. A reasonable woman, after the father has gone to provide all necessary things that will make the house, to be alive. A reasonable woman, we see it obliged. We see himself, a challenge to make those food stuff that the man has provided to make it what? Eatable. A reasonable what? Woman. It is their nature or their role that made that one compulsory on them. But this is at the beginning, if the man say, okay, no problem, we have a cook. We have someone else that will take charge of that. I can still marry you. That kind of marriage is what? That kind of condition is valid. Is valid. Now, second type of condition. We are coming back to the one that majority of us want to hear. Inshallah. We are going to get that. Second condition are those conditions that they do not have anything to do with the essence of marriage. They are not tampering with essence of marriage. These are the conditions that are allowed. They are the valid conditions. We've cited some of those examples. Now, before we move away from invalid condition, if the man say, me, as I did so, I no get money. Now that thing I get. Money no day, money no follow. Will you marry me like that? So I will turn it upside down. That I will be the one will be wearing skirts. So I will be at home waiting for you, bringing money. You as my wife, you bring money to the family. Now you go be working for the family at the point of condition, and the woman desperately accepts. Is that kind of condition? Is it valid or not valid? Huh? Is it valid or not valid? Okay. On a not in a short form, that kind of condition is invalid. Why is it invalid? Is that it is Islamically dictated that for someone to get, remember one of the hadiths that we took before, it is even the first condition before you can go and do what? And marry. It means you are not even qualified in the first what? In the first instance. But if it's not conditioned, but sometimes, some women, I've seen a lot of cases that some women, they will say, just for me to be bearing your name, just for me to be bearing your name, no problem. I will take care of myself. I will do this. I will do that. Just for me. In fact, there is even one that was proving, was saying it that I will even be giving you the something. That is at the beginning. Let the marriage what start. By the time you are into that marriage, you will know that you are supposed to be a man. You're supposed to walk. It can never be unless, you know, natural thing. What is the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made man to be the breadwinner, okay? To be the one responsible for the upkeeping and to provide all the al-mu'una, yani the necessity of life, the necessity of the family, all the things that they need. In return to that, it will be the head of the family, right? It will be the protector of the family. It will be the one safeguarding the guard to the family. Unless if a man is ready to give away all those things, authority, is your wife that tell you, Alaji, where are you going? Sit down there, and you sit. Or, Alaji, they are looking for you. Don't go anywhere. Oh, yeah, go back to your room. Uh-huh. But if you want to what? You want to exact that authority, you have to provide for the what? For the family. You cannot have the two. Just like they say, you cannot eat your cake and still what? And still have it. So that kind of condition is non and what? And void. It's conditions that is not allowed. But the one that I will throw over now is the conditions that, just as I said, that majority of us are waiting for it. The woman says that you marry me. Now me be first and the last. Now me be number one and what? One and only. But you too, you write down, yes. Now you be number one and only. I will not marry second one. I know what, better for worse. I will not marry anything against you. Is it allowed in Islam? Oh yeah, now let's go. That kind of condition, is it allowed? It's not allowed? Huh? We said someone said it's allowed. Okay, it's allowed. Okay, it's not allowed. I can hear it's not allowed from this side. It's allowed from this side. Huh? Okay, that kind of condition, to fortunately and unfortunately, is allowed. Fortunately and unfortunately is what? Is allowed. And is valid. It's valid in the sense that if the man signed to it, the woman can take him to court on that base. Islamic court, Shari'ah, on that base that now you sign for me, now you give me your word that you will not marry second wife. Our agreement is what? Is agreement. So on that case, the man has two options. Either to go and stick with what? With the promise that he promised, or the woman to divorce the man. You know, in Islam, it is other way around. It's the man that divorces the woman. But now, it is enough ground for woman to divorce the what? The man in Islam. We can ask ourselves why. But to marry second wife, to marry third wife is allowed in Islam now. Now compulsory be. Now compulsory be is not compulsory. Even though it's encouraged, even though it's allowed, it's not compulsory. But the moment you have what? You have signed that agreement is binding on you. Someone can say that there is another hadith of Rasulullah SAW that the promise are kept as long they do not make halal haram. It's hadith of Rasulullah SAW. Or they do not make haram halal. Like, so for example, someone make a promise today. He say, I promise you that I'm going to slap you, going to deal with you. I promise you, promise you. For no reason. It does come to, okay, like for example, like that challenge that they usually do now. You know, someone we say that that army, I saw one clip recently, said that army where they there, I'll go and slap him. When I slap him, they will bet it too. They will bet is go and slap him. We'll slap the army. Wow. Some of them, because normally as Nigerian and African setting, you know, those military, they have certain position. For someone to have the audacity to come and do that kind of terrible thing to them, it means two things, or one of these two things. Either that person is mad, completely mad, because he dare the consequence. His sense is not in order, or is an authority. Commander. Commander. So, you know, that kind of a thing, someone, but this one now is not that, not this. He had promised that this person that is there, in that army or no army, I'm going to slap the person. He now comes to you, then he slap you. Pa! What did I do? To Allah, sorry. Now I promise someone. And then I have to fulfill the promise. That kind of promise is dead on, even before arrival. That one is in fact, because it's a sin for you to assault someone. It's an assault. Or maybe you insult someone, na promise, I promise that I will insult him. Or I promise people that one day, I'm going to taste alcohol. Or that guy, maybe I promise some of my colleagues. You know, this one happened among young men. You see that girl, that guy, I'm going to eat her. I'm going to eat her. I'll chop him. That's the language. I'll chop him. You see, that kind of promise, say, someone will even swear to it, to make it binding. You will now put in all necessary way for him to do what? For him to do it. It's necessary, is those promises that someone should not do what? Fulfill. That's what the hadith is saying, that if something is haram, the promise cannot make it what? Haram. Or maybe someone that, you know, to eat, what is it called? Yani, to drink the alcohol. Oh no, we said that one. You know, we are now talking about the halal. To eat meat, you now vow to yourself. That's why we said in one of the something, for someone to torture himself, all in the name that I want to be a vegetarian, is not in Islam. It's not in Islam. You are punishing yourself with that. Your body needs some level of calcium to live. Allah made you like that. I didn't mean He wanted you to be eating only plants, only vegetable. He would have created you animals. Not even all animals that are eating vegetables only. He have created you one of those what? One of those herbivorous animal. So it would have been a normal something. Allah created you to be what? To be the way you are. Don't make what Allah has made halal for you to make it what? Now, under that one, someone can ask, but to marry second wife, to marry third wife, is it not halal? Huh. Why am I making it what? Why am I making it what? Haram for myself. The answer to it, according to some scholars, is that the woman herself did not stop you from marrying second wife. She did not what? Stop you from marrying second wife or third wife. What she's stopping you from is that for you to combine her with the what? So if you know you cannot fulfill that promise, you do what? You move on. It does not make what is halal for you. It does not make it does she has not made it haram. But the condition is that with me, which you agree to. If you decide not to fulfill your agreement, it means you are going to let her what? Let her go. That's it, just it. If you are not going to fulfill that your agreement, it means you let her go. And the woman has the liberty as well. So we have agreement to do this, but you break your what? Your agreement. I will say Allah ya Isa to you, but I still remain in your house. No problem. No what? No problem. That problem is between you and who? Your conscience and your Lord. Between you and your conscience and your Lord. That's why Rasulullah sallallahu. You can see how these things is something that some scholars, especially contemporary scholars, they're writing a lot of what? A lot of things on it. You hardly hear the issue of giving condition in this part of the world. Because it's not compulsory. It's not what? But if you are in the world, you are in a place that this is done. It's not that to give condition is there in Islam. If someone uh, chooses to do it, if someone chooses to do it, is there in Islam. It's only that as long as those conditions they are not against the essence of marriage. Remember that word, the essence, yani muqtada al-aqd. As long as they do not change the essence of marriage, those conditions are valid and then they are allowed. Inshallah, we are going to make do with this. I believe we have a lot of questions or contributions. If you have questions or contribution, the door is open. Now, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now, mm, now, is the is